If you grew up in the late 90s to early 2000s, you'd probably recognize this game. Unreal Tournament. Arena shooters are an artifact of a bygone era of gaming. Before these games were commonly free and filled with microtransactions that aren't very micro. Will almost every video have a bit or some sort of joke stolen from another YouTuber? Who knows? Speaking of YouTube, I am surprised people enjoyed the PS3 video to the point where it netted me a bunch of new people watching, bringing me up to over 100 subscribers, and for that, here's a thanks straight from my heart. Thank you. I'm genuinely not sure of what else to say. There are no words to describe my amazement from this sudden growth, although I do wish my height would grow, and I know it's not much, but it means a lot to me. Also, quick clarification, I am a girl. Not meaning to be whiny about pronouns or anything, just wanted to let people know who didn't know. Oh, and also... Boom, now I actually have a sprite done by a proper artist, not by me in MS Paint in about 10 minutes. Okay, now back to the video. Quake never dabbled that much in the arena shooter genre, only having 2 games to my knowledge, Quake 3 Arena / Team Arena and Quake Champions. So when people talk about a good arena shooter and mention Quake, they're most likely referring to Quake 3 Arena. But Unreal? It really dove deep into the arena shooter genre. For lack of a better word, it was unreal. Hell, Next Generation Magazine already made that pun. It was in the famous Unreal cover page, which was most prominently shown in LGR's coverage of Unreal Gold. Unreal Tournament was quite popular from what I can gather. I wasn't even in this realm when Unreal Tournament was at its height, and after playing it and seeing how many epic games pumped out at the time, I can see how much of a gaming phenomenon it was. Sure, it didn't sell as much as Quake 3, and the only solid mention of any sort of sales figures over a year after release is from Maximum PC, which states that Unreal Tournament sold nearly 2 million units. Take this with a grain of salt, however, because this magazine has amazing pro-cons such as LCD versus LSD and Nvidia versus chlamydia. So either the writers themselves were on LSD or they had my writing humour. So, I installed UT99 and the old Unreal patch as well as bonus pack 4 since it isn't included in the current Game of the Year edition that you can get, and I know you want the actual review now. In short, Unreal Tournament is a great game, no matter what year it is when I upload this video, but that isn't doing it justice. I'd like to quickly note that my descriptions of what actions are available for each weapon and their damage numbers are based both on my experience with them and also the Unreal fandom wiki, since it's hard for me to remember and describe stuff and I'd prefer to be correct than spray shit around like a hippo. So let's go over the beginning of a match. When you start and when you first spawn in, you have an Enforcer pistol in hand and the Impact Hammer melee weapon. The Impact Hammer is your weapon of last resort. Only use it if you have to, if you want a jump boost or if you want to add a charged up attack to a long string of kills just to make yourself look cool in a demo. Left click releases a weak attack, and holding it and charging it until it starts vibrating will have it at max force, which very well can kill an opponent, dealing 135 damage. Right clicking with the Impact Hammer is a rapid impact and can even deflect projectiles if your reaction time isn't as bad as mine. With the Enforcer, a left click will fire a single bullet, holding the button will continue firing, and holding right click will tilt the gun sideways and fire it gangster movie style, allowing you to shoot faster at the cost of accuracy, the standard trade-off. When you pick up another Enforcer pistol for ammo or otherwise, you will gain a second one, dual wielding them and doubling your fire rate, and you're still able to also lower your accuracy for a higher fire rate as well, like you were with the single Enforcer. Once you're able to move around in a match, you probably should instantly try to make a break for a weapon. The Enforcer pistols are a reliable backup weapon in case you have nothing left, which is unlikely because of the ammo littered around maps, so allow me to continue going through the weapons and appearance in the hotbar. The Bio Rifle is not hit scan, it fires actual projectiles, which I think deals a little bit of splash damage onto you if you're too close to your target. Left click will fire out a blob of goop, the green goo that globs, and deal at most 60 damage, and has a moderate fire rate when holding. Right click will charge the goop up, and when fired it will launch a big blob of goop, which then divides into small goops, and can stick to surfaces, and if this charged up goop hits a player, you or someone else, It can kill you, as this deals up to 112 damage. If you're a more experienced player than I, you can probably stick this gunk to doorways and stuff to essentially make traps which unaware opponents can get killed by. The shock rifle is one of my personal favourites. Left click fires a hit scan beam which deals 40 to 60 damage depending on if you're in classic or hardcore mode, and this beam can knock back opponents and lead to some semi-creative deaths to your enemies, as you can shoot them off the edge of a f***ing map. The right click action of the shock rifle fires out a big but slow plasma ball which deals 55 to 82 damage, again depending on if you're in hardcore or not. Not the big increase that you might think it would be. However, if you can plan ahead in a way that I cannot fathom, you can shoot out a plasma ball, and when a player gets close to it, boom, left click and it explodes. It's really cool in my opinion if you do it. The pulse gun is somewhat similar to the Doom pulse rifle. How coincidental that this competed with Quake, another game by id Software. The left click fires out plasma balls which are a bit speedy and deal 20 damage per hit, and right click fires out a constant beam which deals 72 damage per second, and has a technique where if you do a sawing motion with it, you can deal a lot of damage because of how the beam works. Yeah, let's see if Phil Swift can flex you that hole in your chest. The Ripper is a weapon which fires out spinning blades. You know those saw blades you see in Half-Life 2 and how you're able to split zombies in half? Think that, but the blades actually just ricochet around and don't split them in half in one hit. Left click will fire out the ricocheting saw blade for 30 to 45 damage per hit, and if you hit a headshot it will deal 105 to 157 damage, again depending on if you're in hardcore or not, which if it's a killing blow, it lops their head off. It's really cool. Right click will fire out an exploding projectile which does the big boom when it happens to hit any sort of surface, dealing 34 to 51 damage, and you get the gist depending on if you're in hardcore or not. Also, the explosions deal splash damage and can knock opponents off maps if you're smart enough with it. No headshots though. The minigun. Okay, what the f do you want me to talk about? It's a minigun! Okay, actually the minigun is slightly deeper than that. Left click will do the regular shooty shooty bang bang, and right click will fire faster but at the cost of accuracy, so basically just a faster enforcer. The flak cannon is a funky little guy. Left click is like a shotgun blast, which the manual describes as hot, jagged shrapnel, which can deal up to 192 damage depending on your range. Right click will toss a grenade at your target, which explodes upon impact and can deal up to 225 damage depending on the range between the center of the explosion and the target, which can also include you. The rocket launcher looks really strange. Reminds me of the Doom 3 rocket launcher. This little guy can fire up to 6 rockets at once. You have to charge it up though, which obviously takes precious time, and also all 6 is a bit overkill as it deals 112 damage times 6, which means, calculator time. 672 damage. I'm probably actually wrong on that. So if you hit your target directly with 2 rockets, you're likely to kill them instantly, but 3 should guarantee the job gets done. Right click will do the same thing but with grenades, which are on a set timer and deal up to 120 damage per blast, so the math, a lot. The rocket launcher also has a homing function where if you keep your crosshair on an opponent, it'll lock on and your next rockets will chase them because Tim Sweeney decided, that's funny, why not? Also, if you don't like the loading of extra rockets, you can disable it in the options. The sniper rifle has a jarringly different design from the rest of the weapons in Unreal Tournament. But according to the manual, the fact that its basic design has remained virtually unchanged for decades testifies to the sniper rifle's timeless and universal functionality. Don't let the dated design fool you. The sniper rifle is a hit scan weapon which is capable of literally blowing heads off your opponents in the tournament. It is really cool. The sniper deals 45 to 67 damage if it's a body shot, once again hardcore or not hardcore, and 100 to 150 headshot damage. The weapon does not have a secondary fire, however you can use the scope, and holding right click will zoom up to 8 times zoom. For accuracy reasons, I have to tell you this is actually just zooming in your FOV to a set point, which is why you'll see definitely not 8x down here in the footage. I do genuinely just love the thought that the tournament has all of these futuristic weapons, but they also just have an M16 in there because why not? Pretty much just aim for headshots with a sniper rifle, which although I may be bad at, I am getting better. The Redeemer. No words, just boom. Okay, well, there is a bit more to it than that as well. The Redeemer has an explosion radius which is really big because it's a nuclear warhead. Yeah, the people who arrange these tournaments think it's just fine to go, here folks, have a goddamn nuclear warhead to play with because that's cool. Honestly, it just gives me a bit of a giggle. Left click fires an unguided warhead and right click fires a guided warhead, but leaves you standing completely still, allowing someone to walk up to you and kill you. But you can also detonate it mid-flight so you can kill some in-air opponents. Also, if someone finds the warhead in motion, they can fire at it to safely disarm it somehow, which makes the guided option a safer one for your warhead but harder to keep yourself alive. Also, you're supposed to only have one Redeemer shot, but the Unreal fandom wiki says you can have up to 2 Redeemer shots. The Translocator. Not much of a weapon at first glance. You place the marker for where you wish to teleport, and then when you need to use it, you can use it. The marker can be destroyed by other players though, so if it's gone, whoop. The Translocator can be used as a weapon though, with the power of telefragging. You have to be a bit precise though, so I'm probably never gonna do it. Final weapon. The Chainsaw, which replaces the Impact Hammer if you have the Chainsaw Melee Mutator or this list of exclusions. Left clicking would just do a simple chainsaw rev like in Doom and deal 30 damage, whereas right clicking will perform a sweeping motion and deals 165 damage to whoever is unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end of it. And also can behead opponents, which is kinda rad, I'm not gonna lie about that. Since it is a chainsaw, it is naturally loud. Despite it being the future, they still haven't made Silent Chainsaw, so there's an obvious sound effect for it, which if you notice it, it can very well save your life. Well, rather weapons, since you do lose them upon death if you haven't had the setting enabled to keep them. And why did I leave this until last, since it's in the first slot? Well, I was going to use this as the perfect segue to the mutators, but then I realized I should probably also quickly fire through the items first. The health vials are a pickup which heal you by 5 HP, can overheal you to 199 HP, kinda like the bottles in Doom. The health packs are these grey boxes with blue crosses on them because the American Red Cross would have accused Epic Games of committing a war crime like they did with Blink 182. They heal by 20 health but can only heal you up to 100 health. The Big Keg of Health is, well, a Big Keg of Health. It heals by 100 health and can overheal you to 199 HP. The thigh pads are an armor pickup which provides you with 50 armor and can charge the shield belt. Body armor? Well, it's body armor, it increases your body armor by 100. Shield belt when picked up gives you 150 armor when you pick it up, and it also provides a yellow shield aura around you because shield. The damage amplifier will dramatically increase the power of all weapons. I have no idea to what amplitude, but the Unreal fandom wiki says that even the Redeemer is affected but only gets 3x, which is a reduced amount. Invisibility. It makes you invisible for about 45 seconds to a minute depending on if you're in hardcore or not, which I might be incorrect about being a minute on classic mode because there's a guess off the top of my head that I put in the script. The anti-grav boots are a pair of boots which allow you to jump quite high, but they only last for 3 jumps. They also allow you to take less damage because high jumping boots allows you to fall greater distances. The scuba gear does scuba gear stuff, it lasts forever, and when you have it you'll hear scuba breathing sounds when you're underwater. Okay, now I can get onto the mutators. These little dudes can make a match silly. I won't be going over all the mutators because community made ones exist, and also the game is free. It only costs about 20 minutes of your time to set up, and most of that is downloading and in-game settings. However, I will be going over my favourites. First and foremost, Chainsaw Melee. Gives everyone chainsaws, and we've already gone over what that entails. The Fat Boy Mutator makes everyone skinnier or fatter depending on how many frags they have, I think. 0 frags, stick figure. 30 frags, this. I think this one's really goofy because the textures just get stretched, and I find that funny because I have a basic sense of humour. Low gravity. Pretty self-explanatory. Insta-gib. Everyone has rifles which instantly gib you. Pretty cool. Sniper rifle arena. Everyone has sniper rifles. And finally, the volatile mutators. 2 are included in the game. Volatile weapon and volatile ammo. It just makes it so that when you shoot an ammo or weapon pickup respectively, it'll explode. If you happen to catch someone trying to take some ammo or a weapon, shoot it. And now it's time for the obligatory Unreal Tournament gameplay montage. that all of this was just a single game mode. There's multiple, not just deathmatch. There's stuff like team deathmatch, capture the flag, assault, and a few more included. Unreal Tournament is a fast-paced game, so the weapons had to feel just right while keeping themselves different. The maps had to be tailor-made for specific player counts because since it's a multiplayer game with a dedicated server browser, as was customary at the time, before modern matchmaking, server hosts could have a small player count such as 4 to 6, or a larger player count with about 16 players in a single deathmatch server. Oh yeah, right, the server browser. Back in the day, you could join a server looping, say, DM Oblivion with the low gravity and insta-gib mutators and jump around gibboning all your foes, having a spectacular time all around. Unfortunately though, because stuff such as Call of Duty was getting popular, especially in the 7th gen consoles, and multiplayer had to stay similar across every platform, which although Call of Duty has had a server browser for a long time, even in Black Ops 1, matchmaking was there if you didn't want to sort through community servers. Eventually, the death of the server browser came around, and is seldom seen, becoming more of a rare PC-only feature as sorting through so many servers using a controller would have been something which people probably didn't want to do, and for good reason. The only console game that I know of that has a server browser in it is DayZ, and even then, that's a PC first game. There are so many different variables with community servers, not just the player count, but also what settings are enabled or disabled, if it's modded, and that could be a big no-no for the likes of Microsoft, where you probably could download a file which can just jailbreak your console. Unreal Tournament's cultural impact though is undeniable. Not only just how it shaped modern multiplayer standards, but also gamer lingo such as fragged. Wait, do people other than me still say that? So, UT99 did well. Clearly people ate it up enough for Epic Games to make another one, and then another, and another. Epic Games made Unreal Tournament 2003, 2004, Unreal Tournament 3, and Unreal Tournament, also known as Unreal Tournament 4. The impact which Unreal Tournament, hell, just Unreal as a whole has had on gaming is apparent. Not saying that Unreal popularized game modes such as Deathmatch, now commonly known as Free-for-All, Team Deathmatch, and Capture the Flag, but it sure had a hand in making it popular. Remember, Quake 3 Arena and Unreal Tournament released within weeks of each other. They had clearly shown how competitive multiplayer should be. But, like all good things, I think the death of Unreal Tournament is apparent. Epic Games had cancelled the title in 2018 and has been delisted and taken offline along with the rest of the series. Because of course UT4 was an online only title, but a fan revival project called UT Forever is available. Not sure if it's still up or if you can still play it, but it is a thing in case you want to try it. And what caused Unreal Tournament to get canned? Fortnite. Arena shooters just aren't that prevalent anymore. The one that comes to mind, which is still standing, is Quake Champions, which does still get some updates from time to time. Traditional arena shooter games are a lost art, but to be fair, how much of the same thing can you do while keeping it fresh? Hence the rise of the MOBA genre, multiplayer online battle arena. Stuff such as Marvel Rivals are the spawn of things such as Unreal Tournament. And although I had my wallet out and prepared to pay for a copy of Unreal Tournament through GOG or Steam for this video, I'm glad that Unreal Tournament is freeware now, much like Postal Classic. Making these old, classic titles free is exactly what preservation is about. Allowing people to experience these games without having to worry about a company taking it away from them. I do wish that Epic Games would make the other Unreal series games that they have delisted free downloads too. In summary, Unreal Tournament is a classic. It still has some community support and is nowadays freeware. There are no words I can say which can describe probably how much fun this game is. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to show that you enjoyed this video and would want to see more from me in the future about other classic games. And I'll see you folks when I next upload. So, Val jokingly said while I was writing the script for this video, what if you get content claimed by Disney? And I actually went and checked just to humor her, and according to Wikipedia, the Walt Disney Company owns 9% of Epic Games! At least Tim Sweeney still has a majority share, although that isn't saying much due to the amount of bad moves they made for a while.